How's it going, guys? It's Adolf, and today I'm doing a Boomkin guide. This is by far, actually the first thing I want to say is this is by far not a legitimate Boomkin guide. This is not something you would use to spec your Boomkin out to do, rated battlegrounds, 3v3s, 5v5s. This is specifically made for 1v2ing. If you watch my live stream, I'm pretty much 1v2ing all day on stream with my Boomkin at around 1500 MMR. So we actually are fighting people with 550 eye level. I'm going up against a lot of healer comps, like healer DPS, both at 550, and I'm actually only at 544 eye level currently at the time of making this video, and I'm beating them 1v2 pretty much. So how is this possible? A lot of people ask me, I want to play Boomkin, I want to be able to 1v2, how can I do this, how can I do, like, what do I set up, everything, and how do I kind of play my character, whatnot. So this is definitely a 1v2 guide. If you want to see a legit Boomkin guide, my bro TorrentZ out there, big shout out to him. I'll link his video. The first link is going to be linked to his guide. He did a 40-minute complete Boomkin guide. It's extremely good, definitely like 12 out of 10 quality. He put a lot of time into it. So if you want to see how to legitly and professionally and properly play a Boomkin besides 1v2ing, definitely check out his guide. The link will be the first link in the description. Alright, so jumping right into it, I just kind of want to get a quick guide going out so everybody understands just basically what I do and how I play it, and a couple effective keybinds. I'm not going to really tell you where to put a keybind, but just stuff that really helps out. And hopefully at the end of this video you'll properly understand how I'm able to effectively 1v2. So yeah, the first thing, obviously you're going to want to be Boomkin. Pretty simple. Boomkins are really strong right now just because of the healing. Not even with Heart of the Wild, just the healing in general is really strong. Pretty much in arena I'm doing 100 to 200k healing touches. It's 100k, but in arena I'm actually healing for 100k on myself. Like, it doesn't, for some reason it's really powerful in twos, and you're just in the arena bracket. So the off healing and the self healing is really insane. That's something you need to realize about Boomkin. If you're not utilizing the self and off heals, you're doing something wrong, because Boomkin healing is really crazy. And look at me, I don't even have full gear, and I'm able to keep myself up through a lot of burst damage, not even using Heart of the Wild. So yeah, Boomkin. Another thing that makes Boomkin wildly popular is the dots. It's pretty much a dot class. You dot up everybody, and you just spam your dots over and over again on your targets to do damage. You rarely hardcast. Occasionally, if I have nobody on me and I need to do some good damage, I'll hardcast a Starfire when I'm in a lunar eclipse, which I'll explain eclipses in the beginning in a second, because most people don't really understand how eclipses work. But when I'm in a lunar eclipse, I'll hardcast a Starfire, which hits about 150k, and then I'll do a Star Surge proc, which hits another about 150k. So this is pretty much why I'm able to take people down. I was doing a 2v2 or 2v1 or 1v2 earlier yesterday, and I was going against a 550 Holy Priest and a 550 Warrior. I got the Warrior in a full Cyclone, went on the Priest. He was about 300k HP. I hit him with 170k Starfire and 180k Star Surge. So I just killed him literally within 0.5 seconds. So Boomkins are extremely bursty and powerful, but also they have a little bit of sustained damage through dots. Another ability you get is the Starfall. This is pretty much your main burst damage. It's AoE, and it hits everybody like for like 15k every second. And if you use it with your one-shot macro, which I'll be explaining in a second, you can literally take the entire team, no matter how many players are on that team, down to 50% within like 5 seconds. So Boomkin burst is really powerful, Boomkin healing is powerful, and they have pretty good sustained damage. Also, druids have great maneuverability and defensive, so overall Boomkin is a great class to 1v2 on. Other classes I recommend 1v2ing are mages and monks. Maybe Destrolox, but I think it's a bit harder. Boomkin is so far easier for me than mage, and I don't really have a geared monk, so I can't say in that aspect. Monks kind of do mess me up, but monks are really good at 1v2ing. So yeah, hopping into talents, this is pretty much what you're going to stay with the entire time. One of these you can maybe change. Displacer Beast is what you want to keep. Basically allows you to jump, and you can get some, like, I was pretty much over here to here. It's like, what, 20 yards? Yeah, so this is some good distance. Plus it gives you a little bit of a sprint, so you can get away quicker. Puts you in cat form. But pretty much right after I displace your beast, I'll go into Boomkin form, and it gives you, like I said, a sprint, so you're able to run. This can get you out of roots. It's pretty similar to Blink, except it can't get you out of stuns. I really use this I use this as a defensive if I need to get the hell out of there, to be able to, you know, put a rejuve and a Cenarian Ward on myself. That's what I'll do. Like I said, after that, Cenarian Ward. This is the best ability in the game right here, guys. The best ability. Oh, look, another Boomkin. But yeah, I really love Cenarian Ward. It's a single target heal that you can put on yourself. It lasts for 30 seconds. But once you put it on, if you take damage, you heal 500 or 55,000 every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. This combined with Heart of the Wild is the biggest healing in the game. Literally, I'm getting 150k ticks of Cenarian Ward on myself with Heart of the Wild, which is insane healing. I pretty much use Cenarian Ward, not necessarily on cooldown, but pretty much every 40 seconds or whenever I'm taking substantial damage. You might want to save it every minute for the rotation burst, because if you think about it, classes usually have burst every minute, so you may want to save this in combination with your bark skin. After that, you want to be using Typhoon. This is really good to push your people back, push your enemies back. I pretty much just use it to not necessarily push them off, but it's the effect after. It dazes them and slows them for 6 seconds afterwards. So I'll pretty much do the Typhoon, and then I'll Displacer Beast, go in Boomkin form, you know, and I get this sprint. So I'm able to, you know, get some distance in between me and whoever I'm going up against. It's extremely beneficial, that combination right there. And they're pretty much on the same cooldown, so just keep that in mind. That's a pretty good combo. After that, most people go Incarnation, obviously for the proper Boomkin guide, but you're going to be wanting to use Force of Nature. This will save you so much. The biggest problem with Boomkin Sap, I don't really have problems with mages as priest, warlocks, maybe warlocks a little bit, but you know, I'm a Boomkin, so what's up. But the biggest problem I have is with melee classes, specifically DKs. So basically what Force of Nature does is it makes this little Trent guy come out, and he roots your target. So let's find some unsuspecting Thistle Bear over here. You put this thing, see, he gets rooted right here, and then he'll cast some, you know, a couple wraths. It's not really the wrath you're wanting, it's this root, which is the best part. So basically it's an AoE root on a 3-stack time, like a 3-stack ability on an instant cooldown up to 3 stacks, obviously, with a 30-second recharge. So what obviously you can see I use this for, instead of going up to a bear or going up to my 550 DK that I'm trying to 1v2 and, you know, going and rooting him. No, that takes too much time. You know, look at this time I'm wasting rooting. Boom. So that's time I waste. That's time I could be putting up a healing touch, you know. I'm using these, I pretty much use these Trents as roots. And then what I'll do is I'll Trent root. Let's find another bear. Come here, killing animals. So I'll Trent root into a solar beam, and boom, there it is. It'll last for pretty much like 8 seconds in arena, so you get an 8-second CC on the healer. High five. There you go, there's another CC, because besides clone, Boomkins are overpowered. So yeah, Force of Nature is really good. It's also useful to get, you know, melee classes off you as usual, or to keep people in a certain spot if you need to LOS and heal. That's just something to keep in mind. After that, I've pretty much experimented with all these, but I personally prefer Disorienting Roar to be one of the best. It's really just a stronger ability because it's on a 30-second cooldown, but it's a 3-second blind in anybody within 10 yards. So pretty much, I'm usually, when I'm 1v2ing, I got 2 people on me. They're stacking on me the entire game. I just use this, boom. They're both off me for 3 seconds. Pop on a Cenarian Ward, or not a healing touch. Pop on a Cenarian Ward, pop on a rejuve, and then Cyclone one of them. So now I just effectively stop their damage for 3 seconds, put one of them in another CC, and also got heals rolling. So this is, you know, something to keep in mind. I use this a lot. I used Mighty Bash before. Yesterday I was like kind of experimenting with it, and everybody seems to dodge Mighty Bash because, you know, you're not really feral, so you're not really expecting to the stuff for like hit or whatever for the Mighty Bash, so it's not really that good. Most people use Ursul's Vortex for the root beam, but pretty much I don't really like it that much. It's just a personal opinion. I personally prefer Disorienting Roar over all that. Next ability, the most important, is Heart of the Wild. Heart of the Wild basically empowers your healing, plus it gives you base 6% agility, intellect, and stam at all times. So, you know, that's why you see I'm not fully geared, but I have more HP than fully geared people. You got 571k unbuffed, or 571k self buffed with the 544 eye level. So I'll pretty much be at like 600k HP when I'm fully geared. So basically, Heart of the Wild is crazy. It makes your rejuves insane. It makes your you know, your Cenarian Wards insane. It makes your Healing Touch is insane. It makes your Tranquility even more insane. So you're gonna pop Heart of the Wild, you know, put on your rejuve, 80k ticks without crit, no big deal. You know, you got your Cenarian Ward. You put on your Healing Touch, boom, 400k, boom, 200k. You know, it's pretty retarded when it comes down to things. You also have NS, so I pretty much will NS big heal, 687k. Now you're saying, okay, this is in battle fatigue. Yesterday on stream, again I'm referencing my stream a lot because that's where I 1v2. Yesterday on stream, I healed myself for a 693k in arena with Heart of the Wild. NS, you know, NS Healing Touch. It's retarded. It's retarded. So basically, when I think of like health-wise, I think of Cenarian Ward as, you know, or not Cenarian Ward. I use my Heart of the Wild as my last resort. I'll use my Ursox before that. I'll use my Bark Skin before that. I'll use my Cenarian Ward before that. But I use this Heart of the Wild as my last resort. And what I think is, you know, it lasts for 45 seconds. I think I basically put in my mind, I'm not going to die for 45 seconds. How can I set myself up to be in a better position after those 45 seconds? Because unless two warriors with Recklessness Bladestorm are sitting on me 100% of that time, I'm not going to die, you know, just because the healing is too crazy to pretty much die through. You're not going to die. So yeah, just keep in mind, I typically try to use Heart of the Wild as late as possible. Like, again, it's like the last cooldown. However, I have learned that you can screw up and die with Heart of the Wild up, or without even using it if you get yourself stuck in a deep freeze or something, you know, when they can burst you down. Pretty much the only way to kill a Boomkin nowadays is to kill them while they're CC'd. You're not going to be able to kill a Boomkin while they're not CC'd. And just in general, they're just too strong healing wise to be killed out of a CC. So yeah, just keep in mind that Heart of the Wild is something good to use when you're about 200k HP. Plus, you don't have any other defensives like Bark Skin or Ursox, Mind of Ursoc. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're using it. Don't pop it in the beginning of the game. It's stupid. Don't be dumb. It's a really powerful cooldown with a huge, you know, 6 second cooldown. So yeah, don't be dumb. Into Glyphs. Stampeding Roar is pretty good. You know, you can use Stampeding Roar as a Boomkin. It's good if people are trying to kite you and you're trying to finish off somebody, or you need to get away, or your teammates need a boost. After that, Bark Skin. Glyph of Bark Skin basically reduces the critical strike chance to 25%. That you'll be hit if you have Bark Skin active. Pretty self-explanatory. And after that, Cyclone. Increases the range of Cyclone by 5 yards. Range of Cyclone is pretty short, so you want to make sure you can get it up. Okay, so after that, a couple cool macros that I'm being using recently to help you. So you got your, actually pretty much only one macro, I'm gonna be honest, your one-shot macro. So what this does is I'm a troll, lol. So I've got my Berserking Racial, I've got my Celestial Alignment, and then I've got my Incarnation. If I choose to spec it, I just put it in there anyways, and then I've got my Starfall ability. So basically what it'll do is it pops all these things and it does my Starfall. You want to make sure you're in Boomkin form, and typically what I'll start is I go on healers when I 1v2. That's just something you kind of want to do. If the healers doesn't have like an immunity, like if you're not going against a Holy Pally or like a let's see, pretty much just like a Holy Pally or maybe a monk. I don't usually go on monks. It's kind of situational, and you'll learn who you want to open on really strong. But you know, I'll root beam them. I come out of invisibility. First thing, you want to start invisible. You got your prow. Come up, you pounce them. This poor bear. You pounce the bear, and then when they're stunned, you pop your one shot just immediately. Just boom, one shot macro. Go into Boomkin form. Now let me explain this real quick. You want to make sure that you press it a couple times because the Starfall won't go off initially, but you want to make sure the Starfall is rolling. So that's going to be some huge damage going out. Then you want to start spamming your Sunfire, Moonfire macro, which, let me see if I have it here. Where did it go? Where did it go? Yeah, it's basically cast sequence, reset equals target, Moonfire, comma, Stunfire, and then I have my Focus Arena thing in here. You don't really need that though. But yeah, pretty much spamming that macro. That's your main ability you're going to be using. You're not going to be really, like I said, hard casting much until you're in Eclipse, which I'll explain later, but you're pretty much just like, let's get rid of this. But you're pretty much just spamming this macro. Of course, these guys die in one hit. But basically what it does is every time you change target, it'll apply a Sunfire, or it'll apply a Moonfire and then a Sunfire, which is both your dots. So you get your dots rolling. So once you have your dots rolling on everybody, plus you have that one-shot macro, everybody's going to hit by Starfire. If you root beam your healer, they're stuck in a root, then you're going to start getting your Star Surge procs. This is your big numbers, you know. They're going to be insta-cast Star Surge to hit, like, pretty ridiculous numbers. And this is how you're going to be able to get your first major cooldowns. Don't expect to kill in the first global. Boomkin 1v2s are more longer fights, pretty much, unless you're going up against undergeared people, like, you know, 537 or below eye level wise. You're not going to be able to global them. You can global people if you get lucky with your procs, but pretty much what your mission is initially is to get all the cooldowns and the trinket out of the healer. First of all, they're pretty much going to want to trinket that root to get out of that solar beam, because that thing is AIDS. And then after that, they're going to be wanting to you know, pop their major defensives, because initially they're silenced, so they can't do anything. So they're going to be wanting to pop their major defensives to be able to survive this burst that you're going to be throwing out. Keep in mind that this Starfall is also doing work on your secondary target. So as you're bursting down this healer, the secondary, usually typically the DPS, unless they're running double healer, and most people aren't retarded, but you know, you get occasional dumb comps. But second of all, you know, your second target, like your Arena 2, that's you're not focusing on, is going to be getting hit by these incredible AoE damages. So pretty much after like the first 10 seconds of the game, if you did everything right, you pounced your healer, you root beamed him, you popped your one shot, you started spamming Sunfire, Moonfire macro on everybody, you start throwing your Star Surges at your healer. After that, everybody's going to be at 50% HP with no defensives. So this is a great setup for you. After that, you're pretty much going to be kiting like a boss for the rest of the game. Using your Trent roots to keep the targets off you, you're going to want to be just kiting around. You know, don't backpedal, but you know, you just like I'm just pretty much running like this and hitting F. You know, that's my Sunfire Moonfire macro. So I'm pretty much just running in just a big old circle and just kiting all day long. And that's pretty much what you do. You gotta wait till your next Starfall to pretty much try to burst again. I typically burst during my Starfalls. Your one-shot macro has a 3-minute cooldown, so just keep that in mind. But that's typically what you do. Another tip here is that typically most of your damage is going to come out of your lunar eclipse. So if you have your 4-set bonus in your PvP set, it basically allows you to do this celestial alignment while you're moving. So if you got some free time and you're full HP, you know, you got your hots rolling, you need something to do while you're line of sighting, get into a lunar eclipse. It's going to be your most damage. It takes a couple seconds to get into the lunar eclipse, but keep in mind with your Star Surge procs, it will actually move this bar. It counts towards anything. And when you get into a lunar eclipse, you get a free Starfall off cooldown. So pretty much, if you're thinking about it, you know, if you're going back and forth here, you know, what does this take? How many seconds? 4 seconds. So you can get back and forth in 12 seconds. So you can get a free Starfall every 12 seconds, which is what? You know, if you really think about it. So as long as you're just keeping yourself in a lunar is where you're gonna get your most of your damage, and the Starfire is what does the huge damage. That's like non-crit 135k. Like, what is this game? So yeah, open hard with what I said. Kite around until you can get your Starfall off. When you're in your Starfall, make sure you root the DPS. You're pretty much just going to want to be rooting any DPS. Root the DPS, and then root the DPS. Make sure you have your healing up, and just try to burst the guy down. It's the simplest thing. You're pretty much using 5 buttons, honestly. I'm going to put some gameplay at the end of this so you can kind of see what I do. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. It's kind of convoluted, but hopefully you kind of get the tips and what I'm trying to say out of it. Definitely it'll help when you see this gameplay. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure you can maybe subscribe, check out my stream, that'd be awesome, and we'll see you later.
but I'll be okay. I can dream the rest away. It's just a little touch of fate, it'll be okay. It sure takes its precious time, but it's got rights and so have I. I turn my head to the sky, focus one thought at a time. I do not let the little things under my tongue but sleep. It couldn't be a longer time. I feel like I am walking blind. I have no right time, there are no legible signs. It sure takes its precious time, but it's got rights and so have I.